Welcome to Time Well Spent, a podcast from LaborSync, the only real-time, multilingual timesheet software your business will ever need. Usually when a business crisis hits, say a massive weather shutdown or some unexpected economic dip, our first instinct is to just dive straight into the spreadsheets.
Oh, absolutely. We calculate lost revenue, try to balance the books, and just map out all the financial damage
Right.
because it feels contained. The numbers are just black and white.
Yeah, but then you step out into the field and those spreadsheets completely lose their power. Suddenly you're managing this really fragile landscape of human anxiety. So today we're actually taking insights from a recent LaborSync blog article to figure out how to keep your field crews from falling apart when things get incredibly turbulent.
Because the real crisis isn't happening on paper. It's happening in the minds of your workers. I mean, uncertainty breeds intense anxiety.
Oh, for sure.
And that low morale isn't just people being in a bad mood, right? It physically translates into mistakes, accidents, and like your top talent just walking out the door.
Yeah. Right, because if a worker is stressed about whether they'll even have a job next week, they aren't fully present. They're dealing with cognitive overload.
Exactly.
Maybe they aren't sleeping well because of financial anxiety. And that sheer distraction is exactly how critical safety protocols get missed on a job site.
Yeah, and keeping people in the dark during those high-stress moments, it's not a neutral action. When leaders go quiet, that void immediately gets filled with the absolute worst-case scenarios.
It's literally like turning off the flashlight in a pitch-black room. The crew immediately starts inventing monsters in the corners.
That is a great way to put it. To keep the flashlight on, you have to communicate the why behind your tough choices. Like, if you decide to spread hours across the whole crew instead of laying people off, well, you need to explain that strategy clearly.
Right.
Sharing that context treats your team like adults. It establishes the baseline trust you need to actually survive the turbulence.
Okay, but let's unpack this a bit.
Yeah.
Telling them the why really only goes so far if their daily operations still feel like total chaos.
Oh, absolutely. Talk is cheap if the foundation isn't there.
Yeah, that verbal trust has to evolve into actionable trust. When external factors are just wildly unpredictable, teams really crave structural reliability.
They need to know the ground under their feet is solid. The blog article actually points out that implementing transparent systems creates that stability. Specifically, they highlight using GPS-verified time tracking.
Wait, here's where it gets really interesting to me. If tensions are already high and people are super stressed, isn't introducing GPS time tracking just going to feel like micromanagement? I mean, that sounds like a fast track to way more anxiety, not less.
Well, look at it from the worker's perspective. One of the biggest, most consistent stressors for field crews is wondering if their paycheck will actually be fair and accurate.
Oh, right. Especially when hours are irregular.
Exactly. So by using a transparent system where they have real-time access to see their own hours,
Yeah.
you just remove that guesswork entirely.
Ah, so it actually gives them a really tangible sense of control.
Precisely. Controlling the small things, like guaranteeing an accurate paycheck, removes a massive mental burden. It proves the company has their back, which really stabilizes morale even when the big things, like the weather or the economy, are completely out of their hands.
Wow, yeah. So once you have those foundational systems running, I guess you have to reinforce that culture every single day.
You do. You have to lift up your culture champions.
Right, the people actually holding the team together on the ground. You give them praise or better assignments.
And you have to avoid the fatal leadership errors. You can't make false promises or play favorites or suddenly drop bad news out of nowhere. And most importantly, you cannot disappear.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? If you're managing a crew, ghosting them during a downturn is a guaranteed way to destroy trust. You can't just abandon the helm the second the water gets choppy.
Yeah, it really comes down to playing the long game. Handling a crisis with visible integrity pays massive dividends in long-term loyalty. When the storm finally passes, the crew members who saw you lead fairly, who had reliable systems they could actually count on, well, those are the ones who are going to stick around.
You just have to keep that flashlight on, communicate the why, and back it up with real structural reliability.
Exactly. Which leaves you with an important question to ponder. If a massive crisis hit your business tomorrow, would your current operational systems act as an anchor holding you steady, or just more dead weight dragging you under?
This episode of Time Well Spent was brought to you by LaborSync. Track employee hours and job site locations in real time from any device. Start your risk-free trial today at laborsync.com.